5, 4, 3, 2, 1. It's time to count down reality TV's most talked about moments with Amanda Bella. Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of Bella Talks TV. This is Amanda Bella and it is a beautiful day here in Florida. It is actually my last time I'm going to be recording from here. The season has ended. I can't believe how many months I've already been attempting to do this podcast. So as always at the top of the show, I love to say thank you for being here and thanks for bearing with me. I know that I'm not the most consistent show out there, but I do think that I bring a different perspective and some different views and opinions into what we would call this blogger world, this podcasting world. And that's what continues me and motivates me to be here every week because you know, when you're online and you're scrolling and do you ever just feel like you disagree with like every single person's opinions? Like, I think I've just really realized I have some very unpopular opinions. So I think that is just what always motivates me to get back behind the mic and get on here and have my therapy sessions. Thank you all for being here and joining me. Again, if you have been watching me on YouTube, thank you so much. Make sure you please leave some comments. Again, I'm just a one girl show here. So I'm trying to build a little bit of a following, get some shares and some likes out there. It's so cringy to always have to like ask for support, but that's not even really why I do this. So the fact that I'm going to do it anyway, I'm going to do it on my own time, on my own schedule. So another like random day that I'm just recording and putting this out there. Still don't really have like a real recording schedule, but that's what I love about having like my own show. I can do what I want, say what I want. This is my platform. I've created the space for me and for other people who just need a little bit of, I think maybe some sanity, not to toot my own horn, but I don't know if it's just the state of Bravo right now, but it's really, really hard. Like I feel like people in the Bravo sphere, and I'm kind of generalizing and speaking for all fans, I just feel like people have a really hard time like changing their opinions with new information. There's something about the state of just humanity and the times that we're living in where people, I think, view themselves as being weak or view themselves as being disloyal if they change their minds about somebody or if they maybe abandon their previous beliefs because they have been given new information that has maybe made them change their mind, and they're scared that if they've been going so hard for somebody on their page, what are they going to do? Like all of a sudden not support that person? I think they're scared from getting backlash from either other friends or losing followers. Like, I don't care. I lost 3 followers yesterday. Like I'm never even going to make it to 500 followers on my page because I am so honest about my opinions. I don't care if people are liking me, following me, and just along for the ride, just to be like blindly loyal to me. If you disagree with me, please don't listen. If you do agree with me, great. I'm glad that we can find some common ground and support each other, because it is crazy what's going on in the Bravo sphere, in between the fan pages, what's going on with the people on the actual shows, the cast members and how they're interacting with us. When I say us, I mean the people that are running these fan pages and running these news accounts. It's just wild. So let's get right into all of it. Thanks for letting me just get that out at the top of the show. It's been a crazy couple of weeks. I've been traveling a lot. I know that you guys have been with me along on this ride for a while now. I think I don't even know when I started this podcast, like maybe like last October or something. So I've had a lot going on since then. I think you guys know I got married. I went on my honeymoon. I have been in South Florida now, just waiting out the rest of the season to get back to New York. And we leave in 2 days. So we're finally ready to like put a button on this winter season. I'm ready. I'm a summer girly. I am a July birthday. I've always been somebody who grew up enjoying the summers. I'm, again, originally from Michigan. So we had the Great Lakes and I grew up on the water. And even when I lived in Chicago, we were right on Lake Michigan and I would go down to the water pretty much every single day. So it's just really important to me to be by water and to always be feeling like those summer vibes. So hence why I'm in Florida during the winter and why I'm going back to New York for the summer. Really praying, just putting it out there, manifesting to the gods that I will somehow, some way get invited to be an extra to a summer house party this summer. I don't know who I need to talk to, like hello, can you hear me out there? Like, I have a car. I will drive myself. I only live about an hour away from the summer house. Like, please, somebody out there, help me get to one of these parties, because that is just a huge bucket list item for me. So I'm really hoping that that's going to happen for me this summer. And besides that, I'm just excited to partake in a bunch of, summer events. Bravo actually is putting on these watch parties, and there's a huge watch party in New York happening tomorrow. And I'm so sad because I couldn't be there. My flight doesn't leave until Thursday to go back into the city. Plus, the tickets sold out. Like, I think I was on there. I don't even want to exaggerate. Maybe a minute, maybe 60 to 90 seconds after the tickets went on sale for the Bravo NYC watch party, they were already gone. So I didn't even really get a chance to go. I heard that there are some people reselling some tickets now, but what an awful thing. Like, just a random sidebar. How crazy is it that ticket prices are so bad in America that people can literally afford to fly to another country, Europe, Sweden, Paris, wherever, and go to a concert for less than it will cost them to go here in America, including their airfare? Like, I don't know what's going on with that, but as somebody who loves live music, live events, live podcasts, I try to do like as many live events as possible, and it's just getting really hard. So I know that there's a lot of pushback on that, and hopefully there's going to be some new laws put in place, but it's just really insane. Like, the second market, and how trying to get tickets just to go to as much as like a Bravo watch party, you have to go into like the second market because people are getting them all immediately. They have bots that buy these tickets immediately when they go on sale, and then they try to resell them and hike up the prices. It's just really bad. So hoping that there is some relief for that, because mental health is very important. I think that there's this underlying tone under all of this that we all need to be taking care of our mental health. First and foremost, Bravo and what's going on these shows with these cast members, that should never be your first priority. Even if your whole life is your Bravo page, you are another podcaster, you're a blogger, whatever you do, please still be putting yourself first. I can't believe I even have to say that, but for some reason, there's something about connecting to these housewives, connecting to this culture and this community, it really serves a lot of different purposes. It's not just for entertainment anymore. I think a lot of people who are feeling lonely, people who have been at home, ever since the pandemic, I think people are just really looking for that connection to the real world, and they've found it through Housewives, which is great, but it has gone way too far. So we're going to get into all of this in my top 5 countdown. As you guys know, maybe you don't if it's your first time here, but I usually have a little bit of a structure to my show. The first thing that we always talk about is an OMG and an LOL of the week. So it's been really hard to find some of these topics. I don't know if you guys feel this way too, but if it's the Bravo scheduling, or if it's because a lot of our shows that we're used to watching this time of year, now the schedules have changed. Wasn't there a couple months ago where we were like drowning in Housewives and like we couldn't keep up? And now I feel like there's like nothing going on and barely anything to talk about, which is maybe also why I haven't felt so pressed to be on here recording the last couple of weeks. There just hasn't been as much going on. It's been a little bit of a lull. And I'm wondering if that was kind of done strategically, just based on Bravo's, not recording, but their shooting schedules. I don't know if you guys also feel like it's just like a weird time to be a Bravo fan and just a reality TV fan in general. Like, I had to scrounge to get stuff to talk about. Like, it just hasn't been as much on. We only have one Housewives on right now, which is New Jersey, which is off to a very bad start. So it just hasn't been as much as of an exciting time in the Bravo sphere. And beyond, because we don't have Bachelor in Paradise going on this summer. We don't have some of these shows that we're used to watching and gabbing about. So let's just get right into my show. We're going to talk about having an LOL and an OMG of the week. And it's just been really hard to find information. So let's start off the show with talking about my LOL of the week. So I don't know if you guys are watching The Go. I did a little poll on my Instagram yesterday to kind of get the temperature on whether or not people are watching The Go. If they're not, they're enjoying it. It was about 75% said they had not watched it, but they had planned to. So there might be some spoilers here just to warn you if you plan on watching The Go, again, which is on Amazon Prime. It is the greatest reality TV star competition of all time. And it's got a very interesting cast. It's got really, I love when they do these competition shows because it's kind of got a little bit of everything. Now, I got into reality TV because of The Real World. That was my gateway. I was a young girl in a small town, and watching reality TV was my only way to see like what it was like outside of there. And I loved The Real World growing up. Every single season, I was glued. I just thought that that was what it was going to be like when I moved out of my small Michigan town, which it was. It was exactly what it was like, I have to say. Like, I modeled my adult behavior after that. I was crazy. I would, party, go out, do all these things because that's what I saw in The Real World. Like, it's like you get out of town and then that's what you do. It was just a really interesting time to be a fan of reality TV growing up. Like, do you guys remember when they all got into the Hawaii house and Teck took his clothes off and jumped in the pool? Like, that was huge back then. I remember being like, oh my gosh, like this guy just got naked on TV and jumped in the pool. And I remember like Ruthie jumped into, and Hawaii was a really good season. I wonder if I can go back and rewatch some of this. I've been in a huge rewatching phase of life. I just went through rewatch of the entire Vanderpump Rules series. I needed to go back and get some refreshers, and I'm glad I did because things were exactly as I remembered, but they were like worse. So I'm kind of glad. It's not like anything changed my opinion, but I'm glad I went back and watched it. Like, okay, yeah. The way I was feeling about these people was right. Now I'm rewatching Summer House. I just finished season 3. And again, like, it's so crazy how because of our own biases, we believe the history to be a certain way. Like, nobody ever talks about how Paige was really into Carl. Now, was that just for a showman's? Was that just because she knew she kind of had to like hook up with somebody and be interested in somebody in the summer house to maybe get to season 4? Nobody will really ever know the truth. But after rewatching, I thought Paige only made out with Carl one time in the pantry. They actually made out several times in the pantry. They made out in Carl's bed. They were kissing, dancing at several of the parties. I mean, they had like a real fling. They went on a date, and Paige's biggest gripe was that Carl was not giving her the attention and the amount of, adoring that she really needed to be in a relationship, which really says a lot about her and Craig now. She just has to feel like she's the one being chased. Paige is a Scorpio. I don't know if you guys are into astrology. Paige is a Scorpio, just reads a lot. I can see how that is. She wants to be very mysterious. She wants to be the one, in control. And with Carl, she couldn't get that. He was the one that at the time was really like a hot commodity. So for him to he wanted to be chased. She wanted to be chased. And like, that just wasn't going to work out. But go back and watch that. Like, there was a lot going on between them that I did not remember. They kind of had like a serious little thing. And then there was no season 3 reunion. So, which is so weird. I need to know, like, you guys know that Kyle is a producer on Summer House. Like, I don't want to, speak from truth, but it seems like because Kyle is a producer, he's really been able to control the narratives, the edits on the show, and also who's in the house every summer. So if you remember season 1, season 2, we had the Workus twins, and as soon as they went against Kyle and Amanda, they were out. Steven, out, because they were all against Amanda. They were all being mean to her. So it's pretty obvious to me that Kyle really pulls the strings behind. And I'm wondering if because he is a producer on the show and because season 3 was such a bad season for him, this was the season that, yes, he proposed to Amanda, but it was only after 2 cheating rumors. Well, one was actually substantiated that he admitted to. And then the other one, debunked. But like Paige says in the show, like, he could have totally controlled that narrative by like reaching out to that girl off screen and being like, hey, I'm about to get married. Like, I need you to defend me on national TV and say you've like never met me. Who knows what the truth is? We'll never know, which is why I kind of like there always being like a little bit of mystery in these shows. It's like, did they or did they not? Will they or won't they? Like, we don't need to know every single granule. It needs to be a little bit of mystery still on what goes on these shows and what is actually happening in their real lives, which is why everybody's having such a problem with Lala right now. It's like, we understand we're shooting a reality TV show, but there also needs to be some storytelling and some editing, and we don't need to know like every single thing that's said off camera. So we're not here to like actually be living this life with them. We're here to be entertained by this TV show. So I just throwing a lot out there that I think Kyle had his hands a lot in the editing of season 3, but there was no reunion. So we never got to see Paige actually discuss her fling with Carl. And then we never really got to know the truth about what happened with Kyle and Amanda because there was no reunion. So just all very interesting stuff that went on that season. Again, definitely recommend a rewatch. Now, back to Real World. I really want to go back and rewatch. So with the GOAT, I'm really enjoying watching it. I am having lots of laughs. Now, I didn't really take a chance. I've been really trying to do my own research on stuff, and sometimes I can get down some rabbit holes. I know Daniel Tosh, who is the host of the GOAT, I believe he had some problematic behavior. Now, I didn't look it up, so I have a hard time, totally saying that he's a good guy, but he is really funny as a host of this show, and he's got me laughing every episode. Now, watching all of these people interact, it's Alyssa Edwards, who is Justin Jones, I believe is his last name, Justin, from RuPaul's Drag Race. Then we have Teck Holmes from The Real World. We have Jill Zarin, Real Houses of New York. We have Kristen Doty, actually, to me, the greatest reality TV star of all time. But spoiler alert, she does not win. So she gets kicked off like episode 4. We also have a couple other random people. We have a 90-Day Fiance, Paula. We have one of the best bakers of the USA. Like, it's kind of like a random hodgepodge of reality stars. But one of the people that I always love to watch on my screen, no matter how crazy and insane he is Reza. And so we got Reza on there and some Survivor people. It's a really good show. So I recommend going and watching it. Like I said, I can't really pinpoint like one specific joke that Tosh made, but just his interactions with Jill especially are really funny. And the whole show has me kind of like giggling and laughing a little bit the whole time. The challenges are ridiculous. The interactions of the people taking this thing so seriously are ridiculous. And then there's one specific moment. I think I'm going to make the LOL and the OMG of the week both the GOAT here, because again, I was really struggling for content to put together for this episode because there's barely anything to talk about right now. So I think my LOL and my OMG is the GOAT. So an OMG moment that came from that was Kristen gets into a little bit of a tiff with Alyssa Edwards or in the show, Justin. I should really call Justin by his real name. So Justin and Kristen get into a little bit of a tiff, and he tells her, Kristen, the only person you love is the bottle, and basically calls her an alcoholic. And this causes like a huge insane moment where Kristen, gets eliminated, but then when she leaves, everybody's like so happy she's gone because she is apparently hard to deal with on the show. Big surprise there. I'm like, pause for eye rolls. So yeah, Kristen, difficult to film with? What? No way. Everybody there seems to really love her. No, he tells her that the only person that she loves is the bottle. And this really sends her into a tailspin. And the whole show is just very interesting, watching all these different reality TV stars react to each other based on the caricatures of themselves that they've played on TV and not really getting to know each other for who they really are. Very interesting show. We're about halfway through the season. I really am interested to see who is going to be the GOAT. Who is going to be the GOAT? One other funny moment too. So Grocery Store Joe from The Bachelor is on there. Love him. He's one of my favorite Bachelor contestants of all time. He's had a really good character arc. If you guys remember, he was eliminated the first night on The Bachelor, out of the limo. But he still went on to become the favorite of the season because people just couldn't believe that he got eliminated. He is such a sweetie and such a cutie. Then he goes to Paradise and he falls in love with Kendall. Remember Kendall, you guys? So he falls in love with Kendall. I can't remember if they actually got engaged or if they just mutually decided to leave the island together without getting engaged. But they had a pretty hot and heavy romance. Then they broke up off season. And then Joe went back to Paradise and he was so depressed there because he kept thinking of Kendall and they were just about to get rid of him. And then they sent down who he says he came to Paradise pretty much for, like the one person that can get him to stay there is his now wife. I keep wanting to call her Sierra, but it's not Sierra. Wow, I'm being like the worst Bachelor fan ever right now. Let me look up her name. Joe and Serena. So Serena, who I love Serena too, super cutie. Now they're married, a little Toronto girly, and Joe's from Chicago. So, I always hold it out for my Chicago peeps, my Midwest peeps. And so they're happy now, but I love seeing Joe on the show. And he, again, is really funny and really cute. And every time they have to vote for who they're going to take off the episode, they have to go whisper into this like goat's mouth, this like, huge goat. And just the way that he interacts with the goat and he like kisses it and boops it on the nose. I don't know, just something funny. This whole thing from OMGs to LOLs, it's a roller coaster ride. So go watch The Goat on Amazon Prime. So let's get right now into my top 5 countdown of the week. So we do have quite a few things on the list today. I tried to save some of my most talked about moments for the countdown because it's really why you guys are here. So where do I even start? Where do I even start with the Kardashians? My number 5 most talked about moment of the week is the Kardashians premiere. Now, I say number 5 most talked about, but again, I actually see nobody talking about this show. The only thing I've really seen about buzz online, about people talking about, is actually, well, I guess 2 things. One is that when they have this scene with Scott and Chloe, which I feel like this is so played out. I don't know. I know people love the Lord. They love the Lord. The Lord, let the Lord be with you. Scott Disick, he is an integral part of the show. Kris was saying in the first episode, it's basically been 25 seasons because it's been 20 seasons of the Kardashians on E and then 5 seasons now of the Kardashians on Hulu. So for 25 seasons, Scott's been around. So I understand why they still include him and keep him on the show. He's a fan favorite and people love him. But he's in this first scene with Chloe and they're like throwing grapes at each other. Like this show is so boring that I can barely even talk about it, but I'm going to have to because I am a long-standing Kardashian fan. I'm saying that with air quotes if you see me on my YouTube. It's like I'm a long-standing Kardashian fan. I think they're just so ingrained in culture that I have to talk about them and like see what is going on with them when they're on my screen. But I just don't understand what they're trying to do here. But he goes to open his fridge to get these grapes out. And you can clearly see that he's got Mounjaro stocked up in the fridge, which if you guys don't know what that is, it's an off-brand Ozempic. I don't think that this is that controversial. I think we all knew Scott was using Ozempic or, Mounjaro. I think that we all kind of knew that. But people were really shocked, I think, just to see it in the fridge and have it be confirmed because even though a lot of these people would be like, oh yeah, I'm just working out, or no, I'm just eating healthy, just cut back sugar, just quit drinking, all these excuses we hear from celebrities who are not ready to admit that they've been using these weight loss drugs. For us to see it for ourselves without being confirmed from him, it was just a little bit of a gotcha moment. So a lot of people are online talking about that. A lot of people are online talking about how Mason now has Instagram. He's 14 years old. I think a lot of people actually kind of respected the fact that for a little while Mason was out of the spotlight. He didn't really want to be, one of these Kardashian kids that was being used for content. And we always kind of thought what's going on with Mason? We never see him. But kind of how Rob just was I'm out. I want nothing to do with this. Mason was kind of a little baby Rob like that. But no, he's back and he's going to be definitely taking over. I think one of these roles is one of these Kardashian kids. I think for the next 20 years, we're going to see this happening. These kids getting older. They're starting to get a social media presence. They're starting to get offered roles already. If you guys haven't seen, North actually was Simba in The Lion King at the Hollywood Bowl over the weekend. And a lot of people are not loving it. Now, again, this is about children. I don't want to really talk any crap about North herself. She's a baby. But I do want to talk shit about Kim because we all know that there's so many young kids out there that want these opportunities. There's lots of regular children that want to be actors, that want to have their big break, that want to go to be on Broadway. Like, I saw The Lion King on Broadway. I was in tears the whole time. There's tons of kids that are involved in the production. Do I know any of these kids? No, because they're regular kids that don't have celebrity status. They're just actors. They're just doing their craft. But of course, should we even be surprised that North gets the biggest role in this? No. Now, a lot of people are saying, like, she couldn't really even sing that good. You know, she's a little offbeat on some of her delivery of her lines. Were there a bunch of other kids that were probably more qualified and have been working harder to get to this place, to get this opportunity? 100%. So that's my problem with this. The nepotism that's going to be coming from this family, I might as well just take a big breath now, because if I start complaining now at the first time, it's going to be a long 20 years. So just get used to seeing these kids in these roles, them force feeding them to us for the next, like I said, 20 years. You better buckle up. So that's kind of what's been going on a little bit with the Kardashians on screen and on social media. But I want to talk a little bit just about stuff that I've heard that's not really been talked about. And again, this is all allegedly, and I have no idea if any of this is true. And I'm just really curious to find out, like, if it's just conspiracy, like I have my tinfoil hat on, like what is going on. So as you guys know, Kris's boyfriend, Corey Gamble, you know, Kris has been through some relationships, right? She had Rob Kardashian Sr., who she was married to for many years, had her children with, blah, blah, blah. Then she goes on to Bruce, now Caitlyn Jenner, has Kylie and Kendall, moves on. But then along comes Corey Gamble. Now, Corey's famously had some tiffs with some of the Kardashian kids. He came after Kourtney for the way she parents her children. He got into that fight with Kendall and Kylie when he was in the production van with them when they were going somewhere. And apparently he got into the mix with like a fight that they were having. Like, he's kind of like got into the mix a little bit with this family. And I don't think people necessarily like love him for that. So usually you would think, like, as a stepdad coming in as like the third dad, or kind of like the third like bonus dad or whatever that's coming around, which, by the way, isn't he like the same age also as Kim, I believe? But I digress on that one. To each their own when it comes to age gaps. But it just made me start thinking like a lot about Corey. Like, who is this guy? Where did he come from? How did he get involved with this family? And like I said, I've been doing a lot of research online lately, because one thing I want to make sure that if I'm having this podcast and I'm running my mouth on here about shit, I better know what I'm talking about. Taking a look into Corey, Corey turns out he got his, way into this world by way of Diddy. Yes, the big man of the hour right now. Now, Corey got his way into Hollywood by way of Diddy. I don't think a lot of people are realizing the big connection that is between Corey Gamble and Diddy right now. They've got a very long-standing friendship for decades, and Diddy actually signed Corey to be Justin Bieber's like handler. That was like his title. Basically, you're going to babysit Justin Bieber. You're going to make sure he doesn't get into trouble. You're going to make sure he gets to where he needs to be on time. And that was how he got introduced to Kris, because Kris and Diddy also go way back. So if you go online and you just do a quick little Google images of Kris with Diddy, I mean, there's hundreds of pictures. These two are together all the time. On vacations, on boats, at their houses, at dinners, at events. Like, they're thick as thieves. So things are starting to get a little bit crazy here. Kris seems to really be involved in the workings of Diddy, and it's just getting kind of scary. So back to Corey. Now, there's some crazy things online, like I said, allegedly, and I don't know if any of this is true. But one of my favorite conspiracy theories right now is that Corey's a plant. Corey could be or could not be a plant that was placed into Diddy's world to be a mole back to the government about what's going on behind the scenes. And I just think this is a very interesting theory, because he, as somebody who watches a lot of true crime, and we get, I think everybody these days is really into true crime and just how things work with the police and getting police involved. And you can't just like expose somebody. It takes a long time to get a federal indictment. They need years and years and years of evidence before they ever pull the trigger on somebody. So as you guys know, Diddy has been going through all of this. Ever since his house got raided and people were arrested, including a drug dealer that was on property there. There's a lot of human trafficking stuff going on. I mean, it is not looking good for Diddy, which good. We don't want it to look good for him. He's a piece of shit. So we're happy that he's getting exposed. But what is Corey's piece in all of this? Is Corey actually part of the problem? And was he contributing to this stuff going on? And is he like a link in between these mega millionaires, billionaires? Or is he a plant? Was he put in there to expose? Because now that this has been broken, and there's been a lot of these tapes and things that have been taken from the Diddy property that show Kris being there, that show Kim being there. The Kardashians were in his home where a lot of this stuff was going on for a while. I just have my eyes all the way open to this right now, and I have no idea. It's one of the two. Corey's either part of it or Corey helped expose them. Those are my theories. I hope it's the latter. I really do. Because what a hero he would become then if Corey was really the guy that was in the inside here feeding information to the government, telling them everything that was going on. Everything illegally that could possibly be happening with these millionaires. It's just, brings us back to Epstein and a lot of the stuff that was going on then and how a lot of these people are protected. Again, we have this video that came out of Diddy abusing Cassie, and it only cost him $50,000 to keep this hidden for the last 10 years. That's like nothing to them. That's literally a drop in the bucket. So if it's so easy for them to just get rid of things, it shows that you need to have somebody in there that isn't working with them. Otherwise, because everybody can be paid off. So you have to be like a true friend or like a true person within the circle to be trusted with information. It takes a long time to get that trust. It could be 10 years, 20 years, like Corey has been around. So that's my big conspiracy for the week. Like I said, my tinfoil hat is on. I'm always going to be looking at Corey with a little bit of a side eye now, wondering how did he get into this family? How did he get there? And how is he coming out unscathed? Like he's like such a neutral party. Nobody likes or dislikes him. So just keep your eye on him. So that was my number 5 most talked about moment of the week. The Kardashians, they're back. They're back on our screen. It's going to be a long season of Kim working too much, Khloe doing too little. If I have to pick a favorite, it's got to be Kourtney because she's just the least annoying to me right now. And I weirdly do love her and Travis together. Even though I also think that that's weird. I believe Travis did sleep with Kim. I think that that's like well known. Didn't he write about that in a book or something? Like, isn't that even confirmed? I don't think I could marry somebody that has slept with my sister. But to each their own. I know Hollywood is a very weird place. So let's move on to my number 4 most talked about moment of the week. We got to move on to another very hot topic, which again has a lot of mystery and behind the scenes stuff going on, which is the Real Housewives of New Jersey. So we're into episode 4 now. We just watched episode 4 premiere this week, and literally nothing has happened this season. We've had 4 episodes of lines in the sand being drawn. It's very Ariana and Tom. It's very, I'm not filming with her. I'm not talking to her. Don't invite her to the events. It's going to be a long season. But what I'm most concerned about is not what's going on our screens. Again, it's really what's happening off screen in our real world, and including these accounts that are being exposed for basically being allowed to watch screeners, giving narratives to be given out. And it has been now confirmed, I guess, that Jen Aydin has actually been bribing real blogger accounts, real fan page accounts with items such as strollers for their children. I mean, this is getting dark, but one of the bloggers that came forward saying that they were getting paid to work with them has special needs child and has actually been given gifts to like help with their child from Jen Aydin. This is disgusting. I can't believe this shit is going on. what is going on? This is me like shaking the camera. Like if you're out there and you're watching, like I'm shaking the camera. Like if you are one of these accounts, you guys, like we have to talk. Your mental health is so important. These people do not know you. They do not care about you. They are using you. Do you think that you're really friends with them? Do you think these people are really going to help you when you really need them? Like, I don't understand what the incentive is. Like, have your own autonomy, to have your own voice. If there's one thing as a human in America that we're given is the right to feel it and think the way that we want to think. And if you're allowing these people, these characters on TV to dictate how you're living your life and how you're voicing your opinions and how you're interacting every single day with people in the world, it's gone too far. You guys, you have to reel it back. Like I'm really coming to you as your friend here, as your sister in reality TV podcasting solidarity. Stand strong. If I don't even know what I would say. I mean, I'm sorry. There's just no other like word that comes to mind. And this is going to maybe hurt a little bit, but it's kind of pathetic. It's giving disgusting. So this is just a plead. This is ruining the show. It's ruining the show. It's ruining the legacy. It's ruining the entire activity around it. We can't talk about it. We can't discuss any other opinion that isn't in favor of one party because there's no positive discourse. This has become one of the most toxic parts of Bravo. And it's because we're playing ball with them. If you are giving them the power to have this control over you, if you're working with them, if you're one of these accounts that are out there that are posting on their behalf, that are receiving gifts, that are involving yourself like this, stop giving them the power. Stop letting them have this power over you. You're not getting anything out of it. You're just being used and you're being abused. And I don't know if you need to I don't know, take a deep breath, go for a walk, maybe take a break, maybe just remove yourself from watching it altogether. If it's not fun for you anymore, then I think it's a sign for you to stop. Like this is supposed to be entertainment. This is supposed to just be like gabbing with friends. This isn't supposed to be war. We shouldn't be going to war with each other. So that's just my plead for the week, because it's really, really hard to support anybody. I would love to sit here and tell you guys like my real thoughts on the episodes, but I'm so afraid of bots. Like I make one comment online and that even says anything positive about anybody else besides Teresa, and I will have 10 to 20 bots attacking me. Me. I'm nobody. I'm literally nobody. Why are bots attacking me? Like, why are people coming into my DMs yelling at me? Like, I'm not even somebody who's like influential in this world. So I just want to remind everybody out there, it is not that serious. And especially when it comes to New Jersey, like there's just something extra bad about this. They've lost the plot. They've totally lost the point of why we're watching the show, why the show exists. And it's such an important franchise. Like I don't want to see it go, but I think production has a big problem, I think the production is also like a big problem in this because, you know, we know that these are TV shows and we know that there are producers. We try not to think about that. We want this to be like as pure as possible when we're watching it. But it's very obvious that production also isn't sure where to go with this. And they're letting the girls have too much power. They're letting them like drive these stakes in the ground and these lines in the sand when it's like somebody needs to get in there and tell these girls to do their job. Do their job. Nothing is that serious here. This goes for Louis too. Like Louis started this. I don't think things would have really gone this bad if he never came into the picture. Unfortunately, I would think that there would be one thing that we can all agree on, and that would be that Louis is trash. But again, these people are so delusionally like up Teresa's ass that we can't even agree that Louis is a piece of crap. So I'm really at a loss, but I had to talk about that. If you guys don't know what I'm talking about, please go to Reddit. I'm always on Reddit. Like you want to get the reality of what's going on, because now Instagram has become so fake and so polarizing and so like favorites and biased that you can't really go there for news. You're only going to see like the things that you're agreeing to see. So go to Reddit, do a quick little search and find out everything that's going on really behind the scenes in these shows, because it hurts. And you know how with Real Housewives of Potomac, they fired the producers because it was such a bad season? Like, I think that they need to fire the production of Real House of New Jersey. We need a fresh perspective. We need new showrunners. We need new storylines. We need new cast members. We need a reboot. We need a reboot. So that was my number 4 most talked about moment of the week. Let's move right on to number 3. While we're on a roll here, on a roll, like a ciabatta roll. Oh my God, I'm embarrassed I even made that joke. Let's talk about something about her opening. So as you guys know, the day is finally here. Something about her is not nothing about her, because it is open, baby. We are open for business. There are 4-hour lines every single day since they opened. People are wanting these sandwiches. I'm loving this for the girls. I'm so happy that they were able to really stick it out and make this happen. Now, I actually just saw a wonderful review video that I watched the other day of a guy, and something about her. Is it perfect? No. Are the sandwiches perfect? No. Are there improvements to be made? Yes. Is everything working perfectly over there? No, it's a brand new business. It's going to take a little while to work out some kinks. Like, I'm not here to hate on something about her whatsoever. I saw in one of the review videos, Katie's in the background, like literally wiping down tables. This is her business. She's been waiting for this for years. If you guys remember, they've been working on this since Lala was with Randall. This has been a long time in the making. So we're really happy to see that the sandwich shop is open. It's thriving. It's, for the most part, getting some good feedback. And we're, not really sure where it's going to go from here. Is it going to become something that gets franchised? Is there going to be a New York location? I certainly hope so, because I will be one of the first people in line in a chair waiting for a sandwich. Love a sandwich. So I'm hoping that happens. They're not getting like the full support of the cast still. Sheena has not been seen once in the vicinity of something about her. Neither has Lala, which is no surprise there. We haven't really seen a lot of the girls there supporting. Schwartz did stop by finally, which was great, and we're happy to see that. But my biggest concern with all of this is Sheena. Sheena has totally, I don't know if she's going to quit Vanderpump Rules. I mean, she said that she would never leave, but I'm just curious, like, how she is going to move forward, because she said that her and Tom don't really talk, which I'm not surprised about. And obviously her and Ariana are not in a great place. So I'm confused as to why she's kind of going rogue and like not being involved with anybody else from the show right now, and how she's going to move forward. Because if she thinks that she's just going to go over to the Valley, like, I don't think that that's necessarily a shoe-in. And a lot of people over on the Valley are saying that they don't want Vanderpump Rules people to come over, because it's going to be like too manufactured then. Like, right now the Valley is doing so good on its own to just be its own, standing show with Jax being the only Vanderpump Rules member. Well, Kristen still is there technically, but I think they're also trying to ice her out too, and nobody's really willing to film with her. So it's just, we're really unsure like what season 2 of the Valley is really going to look like right now. But I have to say that Sheena's just not doing this right. She's really bombed hard for me. And like I said, like, you can stand somebody all day long, but you have to with new information. Like, I was always a little Shoo supporter, even though she was cringe. I never used to go that hard on her. I would always be like, oh my God, Sheena, why are you doing that? Why are you saying that? Like, you're hurting me, girl. But I would never be like, but I don't like you. But I officially feel like I don't like her anymore. She's so far up Lala's that it's hard to tell where she begins and Lala ends. They're really morphing into just like one power throuple, if you include Brock, which, did you guys see on the Vanderpump Rules after show that Brock didn't even know that James and Kristen dated? Get this man off my show. Get this man off my TV. You can't be here. You can't be here and be this involved and have these many opinions if you've never watched the show. Get out of here. Nobody asked for Brock. So we're not saying get rid of Sheena, but we've had enough of Brock and his unsolicited opinions about shit that he doesn't know about. And I've had enough of Sheena hanging out with Jeremy Maddox. Like, I don't know what the point is. Like, her being like, oh yeah, but me and Jeremy, you would not be friends with Jeremy if it wasn't for Ariana. Like, If you're not friends with Ariana anymore, then you shouldn't be friends with Jeremy anymore. It's clear that Jeremy has some kind of motive that he's trying to expose about his sister. And the fact that Scheana is giving him a platform, keeping him relevant and keeping him in the news, like, what are you doing, girl? Jeremy is a non-factor. It seems like his fiance is really the problem that's going on with him and Ariana. And like, nobody really knows what's going on there. So you can't really pick a side. Like, clearly something happened between Jeremy's fiance and Ariana. Until we really know what has been said or done, like, I don't really know how you can have an opinion or take Jeremy's side. And it just, the whole thing is a mess. God, Vanderpump Rules is a mess right now. Like, I am unsure of how we're all going to move forward. I think everybody feels that way, which is why they took that pause in filming. And just the whole thing is bad. Scheana, I'm going to need you to take this break from filming, to really take a break from like all Vanderpump Rules related stuff. Focus on your family. Focus on your new home. Just maybe not insert yourself into any possible situation just to stay relevant. I know that that is the name of your game. I know that you're hustling to constantly be, relevant, for lack of a better word, but like, take a break. Take a breath, sis. I want to like you again. And I can't start to like you again until you take a break from doing cringy shit. So that's my 2 cents about Scheana, and there's something about her opening. Until Scheana gets her ass in that sandwich shop, I'm not supporting. Moving on to my number 2, most talked about moment of the week. We got to get over to the Valley. I know we just touched on it a little bit, but I'm loving the Valley. I know that that's redundant. Everybody's loving the Valley, but I am just as shocked as the next person to be saying that. I wasn't really sure how I was going to feel about that. Now, again, here I am. I'm unabashed about being a Jax fan. Do I think he's perfect? No. Do I support him? No, but I think he's one of the most authentic people on reality TV still. I really do believe that he is incapable of being anybody but himself, which is why I am so endeared to him, because even when he's being a piece of shit, I'm like, damn, he's authentically being a piece of shit. He's not playing into the production. He's not doing just what the people want to see. He's not just involved in this whole situation to appease us and have a storyline. Like, he's truly living his life. So that is why I think Jax is such a great reality TV star. Now, I want to talk a little bit about what's going on between him and Brittany, and also we're going to get into his new supposed girlfriend or whoever, lady friend that is going on. So let's talk a little bit about Jax and Britt first. I think everybody comes up with how they feel about people, these characters and stuff. They have these biases because of who we are, right? Like, we like people maybe that are like us, or that we have, or that have been through similar things as us. I think a lot of people that are so close to, I guess, siding with certain people or whatever. Like, I think a big thing with Ariana, it's a perfect example. Why were people so supportive of Ariana? Because most women have been cheated on. Most women I know anyway, have at least had some kind of an experience where they've been cheated on, where they have been done wrong in a situation like this. And that's why they're like, yes, I'm team Ariana because I have been cheated on and I feel, personally affected by this story. So I think when it comes to Jax and Britt, a lot of people are also feeling the same way. They've either been, in a relationship like this before, they've maybe been treated like a partner like this before. It's just, they see a little bit of themselves in this person that they're supporting. I think a little bit of me that I see in Brittany and that I'm willing to admit is that she's got this GERD problem. And it's not funny, but you have to kind of laugh at it because it's such an interesting, like I said, authentic storyline that I think that's why people are really being endeared to her. Brittany has stomach issues. She has gastrointestinal issues. She has been seen on previous episodes of Vanderpump Rules struggling with this, 7, 8, 9 years ago. So this is something that's been going on for a long time in her body, manifesting, etc. Now, as somebody who also suffers from GERD, not the one thing I thought I would be relating with people about, not necessarily even just GERD, but I have to use a daily inhaler because I also am very sensitive to things like alcohol, acidic things, etc. Now, I always just thought like, okay, I have to just like avoid these things because I can't have them. And I was just like born this way. But it turns out if you actually go to a doctor, they can help you. And I think when Brittany went to her doctor, she maybe only got like one opinion who told her to stop drinking. And she obviously didn't like that answer because she never stopped drinking. And to this day, she's still drinking. And it's not because she has a drinking problem. It's not like she mentally thinks of herself as somebody like, oh, I can't have a drink. It's physically the problem that she can't have a drink. So I think she really just needs to be put on the proper medication, and she needs to have, some different maybe exercises and stuff that she does that will maybe not have her have this reaction. But because she's doing nothing to help herself, it's really hard to have sympathy for her. If she had tried all these different things and nothing worked, people would feel, I think, a little bit more sorry for her. But the fact that she's not doing anything to help herself and just continuously has this problem, it does get very frustrating, I'm sure, as a partner, because even my husband used to think like just don't have spicy margaritas, Amanda, and like you won't feel this way. And it took me a long time to realize I would be the same way. I'd be like, well, I only had like one spicy margarita. How am I feeling like so bad? Like, why is this going on? Well, I went to several different doctors and actually had lots of different procedures done. If you guys remember what happened on Real Houses of Beverly Hills, where Sutton talks about getting her esophagus stretched. Like, I had my esophagus stretched 3 different times to be able to allow my body to function properly, because I was having a lot of problems like that. Like, you have to get treatment for things that are going on, and to actually get better, you can't just like wish them away and pray that it is better. So I think that that's my problem with Brittany. I'm very frustrated with her that she's not doing enough to help herself, and that she's just playing the victim in this. Like, you have to advocate for your own health and make sure that you get the help that you need to get better, so that we can all, party together. Because right now she can't really be involved in anything. She keeps getting excluded from these events and having to lay in bed, leave early, stop the car so that she can throw up. Like, she's going through a lot. So that's just my one part about Brittany I had to get out before I go on to this next part, because I really do support Jackson this. Like, I can't help it. I see that he's so frustrated as a partner. Maybe there's a lot of stuff going on behind the scenes too, where she maybe can't help with Cruz. Maybe she can't do certain things that she needs to be doing as a mother. Now, again, if you guys are watching me, it's like I'm doing the air quotes. I understand that that is problematic behavior to tell somebody, hey, as a mother, you shouldn't be doing this. But I don't think it's really like a mom thing. I think it's maybe she's unable to do certain tasks and is unable to be there for her family because she has this horrible GERD situation going on. And she's also not going to get better. She's just laying in bed complaining about it. Now, it's like, you can't just complain. There has to be action items put into place. You can't just be like, oh, I got a weak stomach. Like, we know you have a weak stomach, Brittany, but you're not doing anything to get better. So it's just a really frustrating situation to watch play out, because I'm seeing the discourse online about nobody's getting Jax's side. Even as somebody who has this problem myself, like, it's no fun to be with somebody like that. It's really hard to have a partner that is always not feeling good, but never does anything about it to feel better. So I kind of get it. I could see if it was like, only a handful of times and Jax was just impatiently getting upset with her. But I think after a decade of this, like, he deserves the right to actually get upset. Just my hot take. Just wanted to give a little bit of background about why I feel that way, because you would think that because of this, I would actually be on Brittany's side more, but I'm not. Like, my husband really forced me. He was like, you're going to the hospital. He like put me in the car and was like, we're not doing this anymore. After he saw like 3 different times where the alcohol and stuff was affecting me, he was like, you can't live like this. Like, you're in your 30s. We have like 50 more years of parties and things to go to. Like, if I'm going to be married to you forever, like, we got to get this together. So there needs to just be more communication between them. And there needs to be more of like, maybe Jax needs to put Brittany in the car and take her to the doctor and just be like, I'm not picking you up here until you're better. Because I spent a week in the hospital getting better from that. And was it uncomfortable? Yes. Was it expensive? Yes. But am I better now? Yes. Like, now I live my life normally, and I have had this whole weight lifted because I really took the time to advocate for myself. Anyways, that's just my whole situation with that. So, moving on a little bit further to the next part is a lot of people now are talking about Jax's new girl, Paige Woolen. Now, when I say new girl, it's just like the latest girl that he's been spotted with. It's not confirmed that they're dating or anything. It seems like it's just maybe like a fun fling. And it seems like this Paige girl's involved in the whole friend circle because Paige was on Shenanigans a while ago, I think over a year ago. So Paige must know Sheena from somewhere because Sheena doesn't really have guests on all the time. She, I would say, like out of 4 podcasts a month, maybe one of the podcasts actually has like a random guest on it. And she doesn't really bring like random people on. When she has a guest, it's like Janet from the Valley. It's, you know, somebody from the Bravo sphere or from the reality TV sphere that is somewhat involved. So I think that there's a little bit more going on behind the scenes on how Paige really got her way into this group. Maybe she's been targeting to get onto Vanderpump Rules or the Valley or Bravo in general for a while. We know that she's an OnlyFans model, so we know that she's not afraid of the camera. She's not afraid of being somebody that's out in the world, which I think is a little bit different than Sandoval's girlfriend who's like, oh, I've never seen the show. Like, I don't even watch TV. This girl's not, you know, shy of being in the public eye. So it's just funny. I mean, we know that Jax is a boob guy. I was crying, laughing yesterday watching. Want to give a random shout out here to a Instagram page called Diddy My Doty. So it's DIDIYDOUTE. Please go check out her videos. She does hilarious Vanderpump Rules montage videos. And she does one of Jax where Jax is going on about wanting natural teardrop boobs for Britney and how he's like, I'm paying for them. I want them big and like all this stuff. So now that he's on to this girl who's like known for having these huge fake boobs, it's just like, you can't even write this stuff. It's like, of course, Jax's new girl. This is Jax's new girl. Like, is anybody surprised that this is who he's choosing to kind of like associate himself with now and move on with and be seen with? It's really crazy. I just can't believe sometimes like how synchronicity like, of the universe. Sometimes you can't even write these storylines. But this new girl, Paige, I'm really interested to see like how long she's going to stick around. Like kind of like with Schwartz's new girlfriend, Sophia, how he talks about on the last reunion of Vanderpump Rules. He kind of talks about how they're still together and how he's so, you know, into her. And then we've got Sandoval's new girlfriend who used to date Leonardo DiCaprio. It's like, we're seeing this new era of the Vanderpump Rule guys like being single again and the types of girls that they're choosing to be with. And it's very interesting because we're used to seeing them in these long-term relationships, like decade-long relationships, marriages with these women who, you know, essentially were like normal people. So to see them with influencers now, it's very LA. It's giving very like older guy in LA dating a 20-year-old model. I do have to say Paige is actually 32. I was shocked to read. I thought she was going to be like 21 years old. Schwartz's girlfriend. It's like, I'm just interested to see, like, are any of these girls going to be part of filming? Are any of these girls going to be included in the shows next season? Like, are these just summer flings? I don't know. Are we going to be introduced to any of them? It's all been very, very interesting. So we'll have to just, you know, stay tuned to see Watch What Happens Live. And speaking of Watch What Happens Live, actually, that is the perfect segue into my number one most talked about moment of the week. We've got to talk about Kyle versus Craig, Loverboy versus Spritz Society. So I have a lot of opinions about this, guys. Buckle up. I've been following the Oshry family and the creators of Spritz Society for a while. I actually discovered them during pandemic days. I started following Boy with No Job on Instagram, which is Claudia Oshry's husband, Ben. Now, he's pretty funny. Like, I have to say, he used to do really hilarious stories from everything from just making a tuna sandwich to like walking their dog on the streets of New York in the commentary. Like his everyday, just like regular life commentary was hilarious. I couldn't get enough of this guy. I would actually, I don't use that feature a lot on Instagram where you can get notified when somebody posts, but I was so like into his entertainment that I was borderline about to get notified every time he posted a video. Like that's how funny I thought this guy was. So it took me a little while to put together who his wife was. Claudia Oshry, she is the host of the Morning Toast, the Toast podcast with her sister, Jackie Oshry. And, on first glance, these look like two regular white chicks from New York City, right? Like they all just seemed like regular people. And they weren't quite influencers yet. They were just people with big followings, but didn't have, a real, like they said, boy with no job, girl with no job. They didn't really have jobs. They're not reality TV stars. They're not big CEOs in NYC that have big businesses. They were kind of just like regular people that were, I guess, influencers. And I didn't really know much about them. But as I started to get more into looking up and researching them, I started to find a lot of problematic things, starting with Claudia and Jackie's mom, who is Pamela Geller, who is actually known for one of the original and most robust conspiracy theories against Barack Obama being American. They're anti-Muslim, they're Islamophobic, and they have a lot of problems with race. It's like, if it ain't white, it ain't right. And they're like, honestly, those kind of people. A lot of Claudia's old tweets were resurfaced. She had to come on and give a huge apology. Morning Toast TV show was actually canceled. Their little YouTube show. They had a big following. And the podcast is still around to today. Like the podcast was able to survive this whole cancellation through the process of what, they went to systemic racism training. They gave a bunch of apology. They did their absolute best to rehab their image and bury all of these old stories that were keeping them from, being exposed, which is also like what money will give you. Money and privilege will give you the chance to bury your old past. So because their mother, and they obviously come from an affluent family that already has a lot of privilege, I think that's why they were probably able to bury this a lot and also continue to fund and have their show continue, because they didn't really need to have the support, a producer or whatever. They were kind of probably doing this on their own. Like I said, I don't really know all of the details. All I know is that they were very problematic. They made many different comments besides the comments about, race and being Islamophobic and having these problems with Barack Obama. They also made comments about how, like, if it's okay to avoid a shooting, a movie theater shooting, just go to the expensive movie theaters. It'll never happen there. Basically saying, that this stuff only happens in poor parts of the world and that poor people are the only people that are affected by shootings and racism and all this stuff. There's just a lot. It goes on for a while. There's also some stuff that they've said about like animals and pit bulls. I mean, they have a lot. It's not just like one comment that they made. It wasn't just one tweet that was exposed. There's like multiple years and repeating offenses of them being very ignorant. So fast forward, why is this all relevant? Well, Claudia and Ben get married, and then Ben starts a company called Spritz Society, which is wine spritzers. Now, I don't know how much you guys know about Loverboy, but Loverboy is a sparkling hard tea. A lot of people are trying to say like they're not competitors because one's wine, one's liquor, they're different, but no, it's just not true. There's only so much room for a reality TV canned beverage to really like make it. Even when Loverboy was created, it's like 1 out of every 5 canned beverages fails in the first year. So it's not like, oh yeah, there's tons of room and like every canned beverage is going to be successful. It's not really how it goes. So I actually do think there's like direct competition here, which adds a whole nother layer of nuance to this feud. Kyle has Loverboy, which we all know. Is it great? Personally, I don't think so. It's not really, I'm not a tea gal. I'm a coffee gal. I'm sitting here, with my venti, Starbucks, I'm a cold brew chick. So I'm not really out there drinking sparkling hard tea. So I can't really speak on truly whether or not it's that good or not, because I don't really like tea anyway. I've never tasted the Spritz Society, so I have no idea. I refuse to buy any of their products and support them. So it's just very interesting that now Kyle goes on Watch What Happens Live, and Andy's like asking him about this, and he decides to, instead of playing coy, this is actually like why I love Kyle, because Kyle knows, since he is a producer on Summer House, he knows how important it is to really share what's going on in their lives, good, bad, ugly. for the sake of the authenticity of their storylines and who they are as people. Kyle, I believe, has been nothing but like real Kyle since day one. Love him or hate him, just like Jax. It's like, I don't think he can be anybody but himself. If he could be fake, he would not have put himself through like all the scrutiny of being a douchebag all these years and getting all of the hate from people. So it's just like, I love authenticity. And that is why I'm sometimes promoting and supporting these problematic people. Not problematic, but you know what I mean? These controversial douchebags. Jax, I don't really think is problematic. I think he's just a douchebag. Same with Kyle. They're not out there like hurting people. They're just out there not being great people. So I just wanted to let everybody know that there's a lot of layered nuance to this feud. And it's not as simple as being like, I don't like Kyle because Kyle won't let Amanda like go get a job. Like, that's just not true either, you guys. Like, if you go back and rewatch, like I said, I'm in a big Summer House rewatch right now. Like, Amanda's not dying to get out there and be a CEO. Amanda's not dying to get out there and start her own bikini line company. Like, she just doesn't really want to do it. And that is okay. Like, not everybody, I think we're living in this world where like, if you're a woman and you're not trying to like not rely on a man, or if you're a girl and you don't have your own business and it's like that you're like less of a woman now, or that you're like not a feminist. It's like, that's not what's going on here. Like, not every girl out there wants to be a girl boss. Not every girl out there wants to run her own company. Like, some girls do still want to just be married to an entrepreneur. Some girls do just still want to be a stay-at-home wife. And there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with that. Everyone needs to stop pushing their own personal agendas and their own insecurities. Like, if I have to go to work and work for my own self, then every woman should. It's like, no, it's coming off really like weird. This whole thing with Kyle and Amanda, and people like hating Kyle and saying that Loverboy should tank because he wouldn't let Amanda like go start her own business. Kyle made that business for them. Kyle, from day one, in the very first episode where he introduces Loverboy, says, I created this brand and this business for my future family and my wife to support us. He has always had the number one mission in the success of that company to be supporting Amanda in her life. So I don't understand how people can really be out there hating on him so much for this. I've never, still to this day, it is, like I said, Tuesday, May 28th. So it was Memorial Weekend this weekend, and Kyle was out seen DJing at the Jersey Shore. There's lots of videos circulating. And who is behind the DJ booth? Amanda, fist pumping, loving life, supporting her husband. She's happy. She's happy the way that things are. She wants to just support Kyle. She wants to just have Kyle work and be the one to pay for it. The only problem that Amanda had was that he doesn't have too much of that work-life balance. The problem wasn't Kyle having to work. It was that he just needed to have a little bit more balance. Amanda wanted to have a little bit more time with him where they were together, not working on Loverboy. But if you guys have ever dated or married an entrepreneur, like, there's no such thing as work-life balance. You can't really, I don't want to say you can't be successful. It's way, way, way more difficult to have a successful brand when you are just spending the day laying at the pool and not working on your brand. A lot of people don't realize that Kyle doesn't take on investors because he has personally funded this entire business on his own. And he has wanted to basically keep every dollar that he makes for himself. So he risked all of his own money, and then he's making it all back on his own and keeping it and not splitting it with investors. Whereas a company like Spritz Society will bring on lots of different people and influencers to help them in basically profit sharing, because they don't want to take on all of the risks themselves, because then if it fails, then they're out of their money. It's easier to take a hit when lots of people are sharing the hit on their finances. So they're just two completely different situations, and you can't just jump on the bandwagon to supporting this feud and going with the other company because you're mad that Kyle didn't let Amanda get a bikini line started, which again isn't even true. Kyle never once told Amanda she couldn't do that. Kyle just knows Amanda so well. He's with her every single day. Like, he kind of knew from the beginning that this was bullshit. Amanda doesn't want to have this company. She doesn't. He sees her every single day. She wants to sleep in. She wants to walk the dogs. She probably wants to make an avocado toast and hang out. And like I said, there's nothing wrong with that. So when everybody starts coming at him for being unsupportive to Amanda, that's why he flips out so much and starts to cry and throw things, because he's like, this is the most bullshit ever. Like, he has risked everything to provide for her, and now everybody's trying to say that he's like not a good husband. So I don't blame him. I am Team Kyle on this one, even though try not to use that verbiage, because it doesn't always have to be black and white. There's always gray area and nuance in all of these feuds. And please, again, do not buy Sprit Society. Go look up Pamela Geller, Claudia and Jackie's mom, and understand a little bit more about the background of these people before you just start going online and posting them and being like, yeah, Team Spritz, Team Craig. Like, Craig too. Like, have you never heard of Google, bro? You never did a quick little Google search on these people before you went to business with them? Like, I understand, like, you met, I think from what I understand, like, Craig didn't, I don't know if he met Claudia and Jackie and them at the Taylor Swift concert when they, apparently Paige was invited to be an influencer when the Taylor Swift Eras tour was in town in New York. And they pay for a lot of these influencers to go and be in that like VIP tent because they know they're going to post and share and all this stuff. Like, it's actually crazy how much inside marketing goes on in something as simple as just going to a Taylor Swift concert. It's like Taylor needs to have people out there promoting her to keep her as relevant as possible. Again, kind of like Shishu, it's like the more you're out in the news, the more you have people posting, the more you have people talking about it on their podcast that they went and saw you. Like, it's all part of the machine. Just before you get involved, do some research, find out who you're supporting, and please don't give them any of your money. I'm not saying you have to go buy Loverboy, but this is just me begging and pleading for everybody to have autonomy to think on their own, form their own opinions, and not just be going and jumping on the bandwagon. The Bravo bandwagons are getting exhausting. You have to be able to change your mind with new information. You have to be able to see somebody's behavior change on the show and be like, okay, I used to fuck with them and now they're moving in new ways. I don't really like who they are as a person. Or I liked them last season, but then now this season they're acting crazy. Like, just because you like somebody season 1 doesn't mean you have to support their behavior for the next 10 seasons. It's really getting crazy out there. I will leave you all on that note for something, you know, for a week where I said I didn't have much to talk about. I'm here almost an hour and a half later, still going on. So again, thank you all for being here for another episode of Bella Talks TV. So with all of that being said, please make sure you rate, review, comment, share. I'm on YouTube, we're on Apple, we're on Spotify, wherever you're listening. Please make sure you promote the show. And I hope that you guys agree with something I said today. Like, I'm really becoming the queen of unpopular opinions, I'm seeing, because like I said, I'm not trying to be a contrarian, but I think that the social media has just gotten so diluted with teams that it's really hard to really find out where people really stand and what they really think these days. Again, the whole point of this podcast is because I want to just come and talk about TV and give you my real opinions. Even if you don't agree with me, we are not all here to agree. We're all here to be our authentic selves, give our views, give our opinions, and you will never catch me receiving gifts from a Bravo celebrity. You will never catch me DMing. I don't even follow people. I don't even follow Bravo Labs. I don't even honestly care what they're doing off my screen. I'm watching them on TV. I'm here talking about it. And that is the point of this show. So I love you all. Thank you so much for being here with me again. And have a great, wonderful week. Love you all. Ciao.